Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm taking you with me to Lights in Aarschot, and with that also part 2 of what I call Chaos Week. But before we go all chaosy and light all our candles, if you're new to my channel, hi, welcome to Quillscene. My name is Megan. If you like things that have to do with reading, with writing, with my adventures as a writer, with magic, with Wicca, with geeky things, with all that kind of stuff, then you're in the right place. Make sure to click on the magical subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell, because on that way you'll always get a notification whenever I upload a new video. But yeah, Lights in Aarschot, part 2 of Chaos Week. Let's go. So in case you haven't seen my previous vlog about Elftopia, which was my start of what I call Chaos Week, what is Chaos Week and why did I label this period in which also Lights in Aarschot fell as Chaos Week? The summer is always a very busy time for me as an author when it comes to events, because there are a lot of markets, creative markets in the open air, but also some bigger fantasy events like Elftopia that are also, you know, part of the summer setup. And what happened in 2024? Well, in August, I had like a period of 10 days in which I had like 6 active event days. And it started with, and from those 6 it were 5 actual event days and then 1 extra day to set up. And that setup day and then 2 of those event days started with Elftopia. And then I had, I think, like 2 or 3 days to catch my breath, get back into shape. But that was hard because, as I mentioned in my previous vlog, by the time that it was, Elftopia, we kind of had a heat wave here in Belgium. So when you have to, you know, spend 3 days, because on Friday we went to set up with on Elftopia, when you have to spend 3 days in like heat that you're not used to, yeah, it drains your energy extra. So we had 3 days to take a breather before Lights in Aarschot happened. Lights in Aarschot always is on the 15th of August. If you know my channel a bit and have been following my vlogs, you may already know the story behind Lights in Aarschot. Lights in Aarschot is also known as sint-rochusverlichting, or Saint-Rochus light parade, kind of loosely translated. It's basically an sort of holiday, local holiday, that celebrates the saint called Saint-Rochus. And he was believed that back in the Middle Ages he was the one who cleared Aarschot and the neighboring cities of, if I'm not mistaken, was it the past? I think it was the past, yes. I'm thinking, is there another way to say that in English? Yeah, in Dutch it's called the past. I don't know. I can't remember if it's another, if you call it different in English. If you do, excuse me, it's late at night. My brain isn't braining anymore, especially not if you have bits and pieces of 5 different languages in your head. So, but we're trying. So even the day, to this day, 15th of August is still day of Sint-Rochus, or Saint-Rochus. And that day basically is, yeah, it's tradition that as soon as it gets dark, people start lighting up candles both inside their house, in front of their windows, on their doorsteps, on their windowsills, both in and outside. Of course, you can work with real candles, you can work with the candles on batteries. Some people also hang fairy lights or their Christmas decoration, you know, the Christmas lights, the white ones, not the colorful ones. And over the years, the tradition snowballed into like a big happening. There are also like concerts at the church, the local church that is like in the center of Aarschot. You have someone who builds, like, for example, a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken, they chose the church in which the concerts are happening as a model, and they made like a small replica in wood of the church, and then also decorated with lights. There are guided tours and walks that you can follow with like city guides that, you know, tell you about the history of the city, while it's, you know, the city is lighted up by the candles at night, which is really beautiful. But of course, the reason why we go to Saint-Rochus is because there's also a creative and local products market. Normally, again, this is also an event that I've been doing a few years now. And normally this time it was a bit different because this time, as I said, it's always on the 15th of August, but of course the 15th of August always changes over the years, like which day it is. So in 2024 it was on a Thursday. Now the thing is that in Aarschot you also have a local market, like the local weekly market, that's also on Thursday. So the local market itself, the weekly market, yeah, it's like in like from early in the morning until around noon. But of course those people still, you know, need to pack up and leave safely and stuff like that. So normally it usually, like in the previous editions, the market started at 3 p.m. would start at 3 p.m. and that meant that we as vendors would be able to go and set up from 1 p.m. But because the weekly market was also on Thursday in the morning, we got an email from the organization to tell us that instead of 3 p.m. the market for Saint-Rochus would start at 4 p.m. and we could only come set up at 2 p.m. so an hour later, both set up as start of the market, so that the people from the weekly market could, you know, pack up on their own tempo and then leave without, you know, being in the chaos of the next market that will follow. As I said, the Saint-Rochus markets are two parts. You have the one part that is literally in the shadow of the church, and that's actually the local product market. You have food trucks there, you have the local bakery, small bakery, you have people that cook there, you have also a little terrace, a podium with where some local bands play, the local fanfare, yeah, the local band plays there. They have also a very, very nice ice cream truck every year there that has really tasty ice cream. Like local cookies, candy, all that sort of stuff is like on the local product market, local resources market, like in the shadow of the church. And then you have like, so here is that market, and then you have just to walk up the street, and then you come on another small square, and that is where the booths are placed for the creative market. the booths that are placed are like these market stalls again, with the like metal frames at the side, and then you have like the sides, the metal frames get connected in the middle with a wooden plank that is basically your table, and then you have like a little awning over your head. So every vendor can hire one of those booths, and those are about, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 meters. They are quite big. So since, as I think last edition too was the case, I went with my books. My mom went with a small piece of our assortment of magical treasures. And then also my colleague Matthias Mahot went along with his dark fantasy books. We usually, do some of the local events together because he lives like 10 minutes away from me. Aarschot is also quite local for him because of that. And yeah, it's always fun, to have some extra company. And yeah, Lights in Aarschot is extra special because as fantasy authors, you start your market day with with telling people about your books that are full of magic, and then it slowly gets dark, and then suddenly, the whole city lights up with candles, with fairy lights, with, all these little light sources, because even the street lights, the actual street lights, get put out until midnight. So the entire city is basically only light up from the candlelight and the fairy lights and stuff like that. So it's a very magical moment, and as fantasy authors, that makes it even more more cozy, more mysterious, more magical. And something that was also really fun was, because we were in a heat wave, there wasn't a lot of wind. So the moment that it started to get dark, the heat became less, so it became cooler, it became bearable. But there wasn't a wind, which was good because a few years back I was a part of an edition where there was so much wind that like the actual candle holders would always fly over. You couldn't put on the candles because every little flame that sparked to life was like immediately blown out by the wind. So this was a very cozy and magical edition. Sadly, I couldn't, haven't filmed much because, as I said, it was the middle of Chaos Week. I was still tired of Elftopia. And because we had like an hour later that the market started and an hour later that we set up, I miscalculated a bit when I could film, because the moment it gets dark, it's hard to film. Because again, you only have like the fairy lights and the candles to light up also the booths. So you can't really see like what everyone is selling. So for this edition, I did a bit of more, the scenery image. But if you want to see more of the market, feel free to check the previous edition, because of those I normally filmed more. But for now, some scenery vibe footage. is always a very fun event for me. It's also one that holds a very special place in my heart, because we've been doing it for quite some years now. And that's why it also kind of breaks my heart, because at this point I know that in 2025 I sadly won't be able to do this event. Why? Because in 2025, 15th of August is on a Friday, and sadly that conflicts with another event that will be on Saturday and Sunday, and we need Friday to set up. And knowing that, you know, we have to set up for that event in Genk. And then like on Friday, and then at the same time be in Aarschot at 1 p.m. to set up our booth there. And then, you know, do the market until midnight. Then, you know, clear out our booth, pack the car again, go back home. It's usually around 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. to only, you know, on Saturday get up at 5:30 or 6 in the morning. It was going to be like, it would be too much, especially since, again, I call the edition of 2024 Chaos Week, but if I look at my schedule for 2025, that is already like being filled in. I'm pretty sure that August 2025 will be an entire chaos month, so that promises a lot of things. But as I said, I love being part of the Lights in Aarschot experience. Also, a lot of the trinkets of magical treasures found a new home. A lot of books, both from myself as from Matthias, found a new home. So yeah, it's always really fun to see that even at those local events, readers are happy to see you, to talk to you, to give your books a chance, and most of all, take them home with them. And when you can, you know, do your pitch and do your book signings like under candlelight in that magical, mystical feeling, yeah, that's like an extra layer, you know. But yeah, with that, we're at the end of Lights in Aarschot / Chaos Week Part 2. Stay tuned for Part 3 and Part 4. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a little thumbs up or comment down below. I love to hear from you. Your feedback also helps me to grow this channel, but also motivates me, you know, to make more videos of this, like this. And with that being said, I hope to see you guys soon for another bookish, magical, probably on the go video. Bye!